Go for it.
I'm Dylan, and this is Kendrick, and we are Team 420, and this is Defcon 5, our guard robot. So pretty much our goal of this was to create a robot that would drive around. It could drive around like if you were standing in the middle of it and guard you or whatever. And when anybody enters its space, it will pause and shoot the Nerf gun at its target, and then hopefully the target will go down and it will continue about its way. And so we just have the use of, we did use the encoders, the bump sensors, a lot of stuff we used from the past labs, and then we also incorporated a third motor using to pull the trigger. And I guess probably the biggest thing we learned was this relay, and Kendrick can talk about that a little bit to actually use the third motor.
Yeah, so we have two motors that power our wheels, and then we needed a third motor that would power the arm that pulls the trigger. So we used a relay, and the hardest part about that was getting the wiring right and getting the circuits correct so that during normal operation it'll power the left wheel motor, and then whenever it senses a target, it will trigger that solenoid to switch, and then it'll start, instead of powering the wheels, it'll power that motor that pulls the trigger. So.
And then we use an IR sensor in the front to detect the target in the front.
And some touch sensors because we love reactive control.
Right, yeah, reactive control is the best, we've learned. So we'll go ahead and give it a shot. It should just drive around a little bit. We'll try to stay out of its way for a little bit, and then she'll block it. Well, hopefully it shoots just fine.
So it's going to shoot Kendrick.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Good shot, but it didn't come out. Let's see if we can get it to shoot that.
So that is interestingly one of the limitations of these Arduinos is the motor drivers, because we only have the single shield. I've been looking at some other solutions to that problem, but I haven't got them implemented for the class yet, unfortunately.
So yeah, the hardest part I think kind of was activating the trigger and actually making sure it shoot.
Yeah, I would say.
Because a lot of times we had, it had to be torquey enough to actually pull the trigger, but then we found out that, it was really hard to make a rigid enough setup where it didn't just yank the whole gun off the rover itself and virtually make it useless. But hopefully the key is to let it happen after it shoots, so at least it self-destructs after it. Anybody have any questions?
So the trigger is mechanical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a mechanical linkage, so that is a challenge to get
And the best option that we found, really, we just used a worm gear. So the worm gear was definitely strong enough to do it. That's exactly the problem.
It worked once,
Yes,
it's good enough.
Totally did.
That notebook is dead. It's done.
I'd say you learned a lot, right?
Yeah.
Other questions? Very good, thank you.